Hi, Frances.
Hi, Julia.
Hi. And hello, Internet. I am Julia Daniel. I'm an associate professor of literature at Baylor University in the heart of Texas. And I have the good fortune of being the co-editor of the T.S. Eliot Studies Annual with my friend, Frances Dickey. Frances, who are you?
Hi, Julia. Well, I am also an associate professor at the University of Missouri and the happy co-editor of the T.S. Eliot Studies Annual, which you can see on the shelf behind me.
Doesn't it look good? It looks so
So
good.
we are really excited to tell you guys about our work with the annual and give you some previews of what's coming in our future issues.
Absolutely. And I think our goal is that we're going to try to have some kind of little coffee chats with some of our contributors across all of our different volumes. But we figured that probably the best way to get that started is to just introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about us and the annual and the annual's new relationship with the International T.S. Eliot Society. But maybe let's start a little bit with the journal. Frances, tell me a little bit about the journal. I've heard so much.
So the T.S. Eliot Studies Annual is a journal that's published once a year. And so it's been published in basically a book form. This is the third volume. And we accept articles, we accept short notes, research notes, book reviews. Every year we publish a bibliography of Eliot scholarship. And basically anything that's about Eliot, we're interested to look at. So, and we've also published archival material, new archival material. So it's of great interest to anyone who works on T.S. Eliot or on modernism.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a really great new place to publish for Eliot scholars. There really was nothing until John Morgenstern founded this a couple of years ago.
Yeah, Frances and I were talking a little bit before this. I remember I met John and I met Frances through the T.S. Eliot Society. And I remember meeting John Morgenstern when I was in graduate school and saying, like, I wish there was a venue. Like, I wish, the William Carlos Williams people have a place. Where is our place? So Frances and I we're so thrilled and honored to be cultivating that space and those conversations. And send us your stuff. We are very, very excited to receive your materials. You can email us at tselliot.studies.annual@gmail.com. And we'd love to see what you are working on. So I met Frances through the society as well. So maybe, Frances, can you talk a little bit about the International T.S. Eliot Society? Like, what's a little bit of the history? Who are we?
Sure. Well, the T.S. Eliot Society was founded back in the 1980s by a Hungarian immigrant named Leslie Konyu, who felt that T.S. Eliot should be celebrated in his home city of St. Louis, where I actually am right now. And so ever since then, Eliot scholars have been gathering in St. Louis around the time of Eliot's birthday in September every year to give papers on Eliot, recite his poetry, perform his works, and get to know each other. And it's just a wonderful gathering of true poetry lovers. But during this time, there have been sort of a decreasing number of places for Eliot's scholars to publish their work until the annual came into being. And now what we're celebrating is that the annual and the society are coming together in a collaboration that will make the work in the annual available to all of the members of the Eliot Society as a perk of their membership. Digital access, which, you don't hold it in your hands, but it is super convenient, especially for our international members, of which we have an increasing number all over the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're watching this and you are already a member of the International T.S. Eliot Society, fantastic news. You, as a perk of your membership, already have access to the fantastic conversations being had in the annual. And if you are not yet, can we encourage you to join this just really warm and convivial society? So you can join the International T.S. Eliot Society at tseliotsociety.wildapricot.org. And once we get you all signed up, you too will have access to the annual. And this is a really fantastic time to get that access because Frances and I have just set off to press the 2022 centennial celebration of the wasteland. So the annual that's about to come out is full of really, really fantastic content, especially a cluster of scholars kind of thinking through the wasteland at this really important moment in its history. And before this too, Frances and I were talking a little bit about what are we feeling most excited about in terms of what's happening in Eliot scholarship? And there is a lot going on. So I wanted to end by asking Frances, what are you feeling particularly excited about right now in the realm of Eliot studies?
Well, thanks for asking me that question, Juliet, because there is, as you say, so much to be excited about. I actually have on the shelf behind me part of the 8-volume recently published complete prose of T.S. Eliot, and that has really changed the way we all study Eliot, that we're able to basically keyword search his entire corpus of prose. So that has really changed Eliot studies. The publication of his annotated poems for the first time in 2015 was huge. We're awaiting his drama. Another really great development in Eliot studies is the publication of his letters. So far 9 volumes, but could easily get up to 20 before it's all done. But for me, the most exciting development in Eliot studies isn't any of that work that's already been published, but rather the letters that Eliot wrote to his longtime friend and beloved Emily Hale that were opened at Princeton University Library in 2020, but have not yet been published. And actually, volumes 3 and 4 of the annual have quite a bit of scholarship on those letters from people who were able to get to the archive and take a look at it before it closed due to COVID. So if you become a member of the Eliot Society now, you can get access to all 3 existing volumes of the annual. And then when volume 4 comes out in the summer, then you'll get that too. What about you, Julia? What are you most excited about?
Well, thank you for asking, Frances. We're giggling because Frances knows my answer. I have this just unforgivable sweet tooth for Eliot's plays. So there's looking ahead, kind of like you, thinking about things that are coming down the pipeline. I am so excited for the plays, the new edition of the plays to come out. But already in the annual, we've gotten, I think, a really surprising amount of materials on Eliot as a dramatist. And so I've been really, really excited by that. And some of them too, also thinking through, Emily Hale was herself a theatrical practitioner and was collaborating in super bizarre ways in some moments with Eliot while he's writing the family reunion. There's lots of great material on this in the annual. So I'm very excited to see what happens with that. And especially once the plays come out, where our scholarship's going to kind of go from there. But I'm already heartened that there's some of that in there, which is really, really fun. So that's just a small taste of some of what you can find in the annual. And hopefully also Frances and I might see you in St. Louis in September. God willing, we are really looking forward to a meeting of the Eliot Society on the ground in person. So there's good things ahead. Well, Frances, thanks for taking time to chat with me on the internet.
Oh, thanks, Julie. It's always a pleasure to see you.
And thanks so much to everyone as well. We look forward to getting your submissions.
Yeah, send us your stuff.